you're probably one of the busiest men in the sport, in combat sports, obviously training MMA fighters and boxers. We're going to go over to the MMA side now. I know because you are probably busy and have a busy day ahead of you. So we're going to start with, let's go to Francis Ngannou, of course. Over the last week or so, it's been announced that he's going to be fighting Ciryl Gane in, well, not sure where, but on January 22nd. Yes. The big question from me is this going to be France? Because it's obviously been legalized in France, mixed martial arts, very recently. And this fight is two people who have sparred in France before. They've lived in France. This could be trained in France. This could be huge for French mixed martial arts and just in general for UFC and everything to do with France and combat sports.
And Africa. Don't forget about Africa,
my brother.
Y'all better put some respect on Africa, man. I'm sick of these interviews. Everybody mentioning France, the UFC, Las Vegas, this and that, and nobody's mentioning Africa. Africa.
I've called for that a few times, Dewey. I'll have you know that.
Let's keep this shit together, my brother. You know what I mean? You guys will know in due time what a fight's gonna be. And yeah, it's a very intriguing, exciting fight. Anytime Francis steps into the octagon, it's gonna be exciting because we already know what that means. The backstory couldn't be scripted any better. They both trained together in France. They both had the same coach at one point, and it's going to be exciting. Remember, I was with Francis when he was with Coach Lopez, and we had 2 fights together, and it's going to be interesting. I like Francis. Mind state. I like that Francis knows he's the real champion, and until he's defeated, there's only one champion, guys. And it's gonna be a tremendous fight, and we expect to come out on top, of course.
Now, from my perspective of the UFC and their goals and their aims, I think we'll most likely see UFC France before we see UFC Africa. However, we've got 3 current champions that are from Africa, 2 Nigerians in Israel Adesanya, Kamaru Usman, and then Francis Ngannou. How far is UFC Africa? Because that would be phenomenal. But in terms of what UFC have said, I haven't seen any big statements from Dana White or anything that points in that direction.
Of course, and no one knows if it'll ever happen. We think it will, but just people like you, the real media, talking about it, bringing up the word Africa makes it more into fruition. And that's why I want to make sure I mention that. Just us talking about it will manifest itself to happening. And we don't care if it's now or 5 years from now, but it has to happen. There's too many great African fighters. There's a rich legacy of African guys in the UFC really, really putting on, and it just should happen. It's going everywhere else. It went to China. It's going to France. Let's go. Let's get to Africa.
Do you know where this fight between Ciryl Gane and Francis Ngannou is going to be held?
Like I said, it will be announced soon, and you guys all will know, and we'll take it from there.
I'm not asking for you to tell us, but are you aware of where it's going to be?
Well, there's speculations going around, but nothing's official until it's official. And to me, I don't care if it's Las Vegas or on the moon. We have an objective, and our objective is victory. Myself, Coach Eric Nixick, Markel Martin, his manager, and of course, the Predator, the UFC heavyweight champion, Francis Ngannou, will be ready for the fight for sure.
Okay, and I don't want to keep you too long. Very quickly on Kevin Lee, what's the latest with him? Obviously, we saw Daniel Hernandez step in at late notice and beat Kevin Lee not so long ago. What's the latest with him? Obviously, he's been on a couple of fights. He had that great knockout to Gregor Gillespie.
Well, remember, Kevin had came up for 16-month hiatus due to 2 knee surgeries. So he moved up to 170 it's hard after knee surgeries. I've had 4 knee surgeries. I had a long kickboxing career and a long boxing career. And coming back from those HDL surgeries like he did, same as me, the first fight or so is pretty difficult. Kevin's a warrior. He has championship pedigree, and he'll keep on going. Kevin doesn't turn down fights and all of this. He could have said he didn't want to fight when Sean Brady pulled out of the fight. He'll be back. Sometimes we'll catch a loss, but it's not the loss that defines us. It's us finding ourselves from within, becoming more empowered, and turning it all around real fast. You said a bunch of guys in the UK turned on Joshua after the first Ruiz fight. Yeah. Guys forgot Joshua had just dropped Ruiz the round before. He went for the exciting finish and ended up getting clipped, and that's what caused him to lose the first fight. So sometimes shit happens, man. Yeah. And Kevin, he's a man, and he'll be back just like he's supposed to. We love him, we support him, and we just gotta keep working hard and turn this all around, man. Life is all about equations and different things coming together. And as long as you're strong-minded and keep working and keep believing, and more importantly than believing, keep knowing, you can turn this shit around. And I feel like the Motown Phenom will.
And talk about strong-minded. The tattoo he's got on his head must have taken a strong mind to get that. It looks painful.
Yeah, definitely.
We've got we could have so much more to talk about. I know you've got such a big stable. Jesse Vargas is someone who hopefully we'll bring up in a future interview. But one more question I'm going to ask you. I keep saying this, but you're a busy man and you're across boxing and MMA. You brought up earlier kind of the politics, I think, of boxing. I think you mentioned, obviously, you're going to be aware of that. But being in both sports, boxing and mixed martial arts, kind of what's your experiences of those from the UFC, which is obviously seen as more democratic? You fight this person, otherwise you're not getting a fight in the UFC. And then there's boxers who kind of, AJ versus Fury doesn't happen. Realistically, Tyson Fury versus Usyk should be the fight that happens next, right? But it's most likely not going to. You understand the politics, and even with the females, Shannon Courtney beat number 9 to become world champion. So should she have even had the belt? There's so much politics. What's your experience of that, being in both sides of both sports?
Well, MMA really benefited off of boxing because Dana White did amateur boxing. Dana White's an avid boxing guy. So he knows what goes on in boxing since he was a child. He starts, he gets involved in the UFC, and he made sure he didn't make the mistakes that the boxing system, I'll call it, makes. In other words, boxing is a business disguised as a sport, meaning business is the most important, more so than the sport. You guys love soccer out there. You guys call it football. If teams could choose who they want to play every season, soccer or your football wouldn't be that appealing. Teams would choose weaker teams and et cetera, to get all the way to the playoffs and the championships and all of that. So it would lose its demeanor. And that's what happens a lot in boxing. Yeah. And Dana has made sure that he didn't follow that business model. In the UFC, one thing we will say about UFC and the sport of MMA in particular, if you're a champion, you're gonna fight top opponents. And if there's a fight that has a public demand, it's gonna happen. And I think the immediacy of mixed martial arts, especially what the UFC is doing about making these fights, make the sport more appealing, because now you don't look at it so much as a business, though it also is. There's managers and all kind of shit going on behind the scenes, but you do get the fights you want to see. And I think that's very important. Boxing, to me, is the greatest sport in the world, man. I love boxing. I was originally a kickboxer / Muay Thai. Boxing is an amazing sport. It's galvanized the entire world. It's an Olympic sport. It's made people like Muhammad Ali and Roy Jones and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao and Julio Cesar Chavez and Whitaker and just the baddest dudes ever, Sugar Ray Robinson. But nowadays, the business is much too upfront in your face. And I think that's where they're slipping. However, I will say in the UK, man, you guys are doing it right. The shows are busy. The women boxers are making decent money and getting notoriety. So you guys are probably one of the last countries that's doing it right, even on a medium scale. In the US, it's just the big high-level fights doing it right. Texas Fury made 55 million. Deontay Wilder made 40 million. They're doing it right, but that's far and in between. Although I'm excited about Terrence Crawford and Sean Porter too.
Yeah.
It's just like I said, boxing has showed its cards too much, and everyone's starting to look at boxing like it's more of a business over the sport. Whereas MMA, it's still a raw sport where you get those exciting matchups you want, and that's what it's all about.
Who are your favorite fighters of all time from both sports? Seeing as that you were listing off the boxers there, I'm wondering who your favorite is.
Gosh, my favorite boxer of all time. When I close my eyes, it's two guys. Gotta say Sugar Ray Robinson. I gotta say Muhammad Ali. And the reason why I say it in that order, because Sugar Ray Robinson was the first man to have an entourage. He was the first one to wear the white shorts with the black stripe on the side. He was the first one to do the Ali shuffle, the shuffle and the swagger, in and out boxing, moving his feet, hands down, left hook. Ali kind of emulated what Sugar Ray Robinson did. A lot of people don't understand that. That's why I say Ray Robinson, then Ali. But if you look for name value, a man who changed the world, there will never be a name bigger than Muhammad Ali. I'll be the first to say that. From the time, from the culture, from what he stood for how he didn't let money and the political landscape change him, affect him, AKA sell out. Muhammad Ali's a fucking king, period. MMA, that's hard to say. I'm old school, so I gotta say I loved Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
I did love Fedor.
Fedor Emelianenko, yeah. It's a shame he never fought in the UFC, but his status is respected by a lot.
Yes. And though all the controversy and all of that's going on, you can't talk about MMA without mentioning a certain name. And you know who I'm gonna say, Bones John Jones.
Yeah.
And lastly, you already know, the Predator, Francis Ngannou. Let's go.
Yeah, that's someone all I can say is I was extremely excited when he won that second fight. I was saying, I was watching it with some of my friends in the UK, and the second he defended that takedown, I said, I could turn the TV off now, the fight's done. The second he defended that takedown.
First of all, I did several interviews for UK guys. I don't know if you can find them, but I told all you guys what was going to happen. All the experts were saying he hasn't evolved, he hasn't done this, he hasn't done that. I told everyone he was going to win, and the key factor wasn't redemption or any of this stuff you guys are saying. It was experience. He fought Stipe in the first fight. I was there. I was in the corner also. 3.5 years in this MMA career, 4 years in this MMA career, knocking everybody out. It just wasn't enough time to be ready for a 5-round championship fight against a guy like Stipe. Stipe's the real deal. But in the rematch, 2.5 years later, 3 years later, I told you guys, man, experience. He'd been through the 5. We knew he needed to work on, and he put the work in, man. It's that simple. And that experience from the first fight to the experience with Derek Lewis, to the experience of winning the championship, guys, has put Francis Ngannou on a whole nother level. It's scary to fight this dude for anyone, and he's gonna rule for a long time, man. He puts the work in, and he continues to put the work in, he's gonna reign for a long time, guys.
We need to see that Derek Lewis fight again.
You guys don't want to see that again. Trust me. You guys don't want to see that again.
I think the second time round, it can only go one way, just both go in hell for leather.
Man, you're right. It can only go one way. And it's not even worth mentioning the other way. It's Francis all the way, man. Francis has experience. He has well-rounded skills. And let me tell you something. He's something different, guys. He's something different for real.
Yeah, he's got the whole package. It's show business at the end of the day, fight sports, and he's got everything, Francis Ngannou. Listen, on that note.
And real fast, you guys all know, one of the greatest stories in sports history, and a really awesome dude. You know what I mean? So we talk about the business disguised as a sport. If you have a story or you have something that's appealing to the people, that's good too. From his look to his physical abilities, to his attitude, to the good person he is, he's the total package.
I'm enjoying this chat. Can you just kind of talk me through how you guys met?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I got a text message from Forrest Griffin telling me, hey, we got this African fighter, Francis Ngannou, moving to Vegas. He needs a coach. I think you'll be the perfect guy for him. And I was like, Francis Ngannou, I didn't know who he was. So I go online, I see this brother with braided hair, big swole brother. I'm like, holy shit. Okay, that's cool. He let me know a few weeks in advance. And next thing you know, one day I'm training my guys at the Mayweather Boxing Club. Yeah. I've been with TMT since the late 90s. And he walks to the gym and met me for the first time. And Francis speaks very good English now, but back then he wasn't very good at English. Yeah. So it was a pretty awkward meeting the first time because I could not understand what he was saying. But we're talking, it was an awkward conversation, but Francis didn't know my personality either. I'm a let's do it type of guy, so when he came, I'm like, yeah, get your stuff, let's go, let's work right now, right? Francis like thinking I'm a weirdo, because I'm like, okay, yeah, I know who you are, let's go. He just wanted to meet me and talk and see the gym and arrange, let's meet up and try each other out and see if this thing could work. And I'm like, let's go down. So our first meeting was very awkward, but eventually, about a week later, we started training at the UFC PI, and we've been rocking out ever since, man. I got Francis Ngannou through a friendship or a professional referral. You know what I mean? And, glad I did. I'm glad I'm still with the team. And I'm glad we added the other components that we needed, going to Extreme Coutures, getting Eric Nixick, and we're all good. You know what I mean? Remember, guys, you see what that shirt says, Black Cobra Striking Systems. But we did need that ground component and the complete MMA team, and we've assembled that, and you see the result.
Well, best of luck to you guys, obviously, out in America, training over Christmas with all your guys, but most importantly, for January 22nd, that's going to be an entertaining fight.
I don't celebrate holidays, man. I celebrate 2 days. That's birthdays. That's the day you were born. It's worth commemorating that, and New Year's Day, because you lived another year. I don't celebrate no other holidays, no Thanksgiving, Christmas, none of that. You know what I mean? Because all that stuff was done by somebody else. It's all about what you can do and how you can make this world a better place. And that's what type of shit I'm on, man. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for doing the interview with us, man. We're gonna keep working hard. And by the way, I'm still exhilarated over that win in Liverpool. We went to the UK and got it done. And that was a very important win for me, because that was my 10th world title as a coach. So I got it. Yes, sir. Number 10.
No better way to end it.